Welcome to episode 133 of Business Growth School for Service Providers. I'm your host Ali Salman, and this podcast is brought to you by Rapid Boost Marketing, online marketing for service providers. So today we are talking about how important are your website footers. Footers are the last thing you see on any given website. How important is that? So there was a case study done by Chartbeat, and I have a link in the show notes section. And what they found that they basically study over 25 plus million website visits, and like the conclusion of that was that people, if they are really dedicated, they are committed, they were going to scroll all the way till the end of the page. So the idea is that like we assume that yes, most of the traffic make a decision in the first fold or the second fold of the website, but footer is a really important area, because if you think about it, footer is your last hope to convince a user to stay on the website, basically, because further there's nothing to browse. And usually what happens that if they're at the footer, if you don't convince them, guess what happens? They end up leaving the website. So to start with that, you cannot discount or write the footer off and say, hey, you know what I mean, this is just the area. My developer asked me, or someone suggested that we should have, and we just put it there. No, but footer is basically a real estate on your website where you can have use effectively in order to basically convert more. Now in the show notes, what we've also done is we've actually included an example of a company on how they basically included certain things in their footer and increased their conversion rate by 50%. So definitely if you actually apply some best practices in your footer, then you can convert a good number of people, right? So I mean, what things you should be paying attention to? What are the most relevant and important things that you should be including in your footer? So basic things are make sure that you have some extra navigation, provide them more navigation in your website. Maybe you have your menu laid out, maybe you have the next steps laid out, schedule a free consultation, sign up for a newsletter, book a meeting, email us, phone us, view the white papers, view the customer case studies. You have next steps very clearly laid out for people, so when they are at the footer, then they can basically, without leaving your website or quitting your website, they basically end up clicking on one of those options. Make sure you have some social media links so people can check out your credibility. You can also put interesting and original content, your latest blogs. They would be interested in reading what are you talking about or writing about. Also, a footer is a really good way to offer a deal, incentive, or also introduce a new product, because this is the real estate the customer will be last visualizing before they will be leaving your website. So why not also think about basically focusing on how can you offer an incentive or a deal or some sort of like any sort of incentive which has an element of surprise, I say, which can entice them. What I've also done is I've included 40 examples of good footer designs. There's a resource in the show notes section, which you can check it out at rapidboostmarketing.com/grow. I'll catch you tomorrow bright and early in episode 134 of Business Growth School for Service Providers. I'm your host Ali Salman, and this podcast is brought to you by Rapid Boost Marketing, online marketing for service providers. Have a good day, guys. Make it count. Bye-bye.